Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Mari's Music and episode 34, a virtual tour of our Martin guitar inventory. We're excited to show you some very special instruments today, or I should say we're excited to show you one special instrument 3 times. Today's show is going to be a little bit different, and a part of that is because of the inventory, and a bigger part of that is because of the special guest I have queued up. You're only moments away from a very interesting episode here. Every 34 episodes, we're going to shake things up, and today is no different. I want to say hi to Roeth. Bill Springer says, interesting show yesterday. Thank you very much. That was a really cool time. I'm really lucky to be connected with Aaron and the great content he puts out on Aaron Short Music, and a good friend of mine was also there to see that, Spoon Phillips. Marco, good morning. Triple 13E back in the shelf. Want to hear? That guitar is probably going to be the next one we take a deep dive at on Aaron's program. And then Jim says, hello everybody, lunchtime here in Vermont. Jim, lunchtime is about to start here in Coaldale as well, right after the show. You guys are just a couple seconds away from virtual tour of our Martin Guitar Inventory, episode 34. All right, guys, and if you're like me and you're just absolutely sick of that music I just played for 13 minutes, it's going to get worse before it gets better, because the person who recorded that music is my special guest today. Would you please welcome my good friend Spoon Phillips from Brooklyn, New York. Spoon, can you see us and hear us all right?
Yes, absolutely. Long time no see.
It's been too long. If we get together every Monday on Aaron's show, every Tuesday here, we just need 3 or 4 more days to figure out who can invite us into their streams and into their lives. If you haven't had enough of Spoon Phillips and Mari Ruch and Martin Guitars, you're in the right place. And you're in the perfect place if you haven't had enough of 16 series instruments. You might be looking at the graphic, and we're going to show you a D16E. We're going to show you a D16E, and we also have a D16E. What's up with that? Well, Lori and I were talking yesterday about the program and what's been on virtual tour, what's been off. We've had 3 D16E mahogany guitars for quite a time, which is kind of rare, and we don't often get this opportunity to go and take a look at 2 guitars, let alone 3. So combined with the fact that we have the inventory to do it and we have Spoon, why don't we take a good look and compare 3 identical guitars, 3 identical setups. They're all wearing the same strings. The strings are all the same age. Of course, there's going to be some YouTube compression. There's going to be a little bit of the argument where you're not in person. But if you listen with good headphones, listen closely, even if you have no idea what you heard, we're going to ask Spoon to help us. And the first guitar we're looking at, we're going to call number 1. We got some very high-tech identifications here where I found some blue tape 20 seconds ago. So this is going to be D16E mahogany number 1. But before we start, I want to ask Spoon, I'll put you on the spot a little bit. What do you expect to hear, Spoon, when you really compare 3 guitars of the exact same? They're all 2019s. We're listening to it through headphones at best. What do you kind of expect to hear when you listen to these?
Well, I expect that I'm going to like the D16E hands down. Yesterday during our talk with Aaron, somebody in the chat actually asked the question about how much variance do you expect from the same model from the same time period. And all guitars have their own personality, but obviously these 3 are going to be more similar than compared to other models. But since we're going to be focusing on the details, we'll definitely get we should be able to hear differences, but they're going to be subtle. And I would imagine that everybody listening to them will have their own personal choice of which one speaks to them more. So I'm a big fan of saying different and better aren't the same thing. So I expect them to not be identical, but I expect them to all be good.
Cool. Well, let's take them for a spin. I won't do too much too fast. To start things off, I'll play each one with a pick. I'll try to go from 1 to 2 to 3 without a lot of playing. So I'll err on the side of not playing enough in the beginning, and then we'll also go back and forth and do some finger style. But let's go first and play number 1. This is D16E mahogany. We'll call this 1. Here's some strumming. All right. First impression, Spoon.
I'd like to hear them again one more time. Same thing.
For real?
I'm serious.
All
Yeah,
right. Let
yeah.
me go back.
Because you
We'll go
just played
backwards.
3. Now I want to hear 1 right after 3. So if you just
Ah,
go through them one more time. You don't even
here we
have
go.
to play it as long, just like
Gotcha.
half as long.
Here comes a shorter version of the same thing.
But we're starting with 3 now, yes?
We'll go 3, 2, 1. How's that?
Okay, yeah. All right. I don't know how other people are receiving this out there, but I am unfortunately getting a lot of flange effect that keeps coming in and out. It might be related to the fact that my flatmate is a school teacher who's streaming his classroom right now, so that with connected to a bunch of people. But what I do get is the first 10 seconds are always really good. I would say 3 has and again, this is subtle, 3 has the most, the fullest bottom end overall sound. 2 has the punchiest mid range and is very well balanced and has a little more high end ring. And 1 is kind of in between the 2. So the 1 has a more of what I would call the classic dreadnought mid range scoop. It's not that the mid range is behind, it's just that the bass and the high end kind of ring out a little more. But they could, with your eyes closed, they could be the same guitar with you just playing them slightly at a different place around the sound hole. I mean, I think they're that close.
That's a good point. And Aaron and I talked about this a few weeks ago. You can try as hard as you can to compare 2 guitars back to back, but even if you think you're giving the same effort, the same amount of strength, whether it's especially your picking hand, there are going to be those innate differences that I really can't help. So I'm curious to see in the chat. I want to say hi to Mate. I missed the first thing you said, so you said especially the higher end, but I apologize I didn't see that first. Aaron Short is here. He used to do this, and it used to drive him crazy. He spelled that wrong. He always does this, and he has been crazy a lot longer than I've known him in my short time. But if you think I'm interested in hearing what these 3 sound like, Aaron's probably already downloaded what I just did and put it through a bunch of supercomputers and 5 pair of headphones. Aaron gets after it, so I appreciate that, Aaron. Rohit says they're very close. Initially, the second one sounded a bit brighter, but it quickly faded after a few seconds. It's funny, being on camera, I'm a little bit preoccupied making sure that the stream is working and that we can see Spoon. I didn't listen as closely as I wanted to the first time, but the second time that I played the quick change, I thought the second guitar was a little bit lower in the bass than the first and third. And I do look forward, as much as I pick on Aaron, I'm going to look forward to watching this in a replay, chopping some stuff up. And this is only the live stream version. This does put me in the frame of mind that I do want to produce a real video where I do play these 3 guitars and I chop them up, and there will be no delay. So let's watch for that on my YouTube channel before the end of the week. So this is a good starting idea. Paul says number 1 to his ears, and Aaron has to listen so carefully that it could be my mind making things up. Let's be honest, that's part of what Martin wants to do. They want to give you these 3 guitars, and none of us, if Martin's doing their job, no one can instantly find the better one of these 3 because they're meant to replace each other. If we sell one of these, tonight or tomorrow, all kidding aside, nobody wants to buy the second one or the third one with the fear that the first one was the best one. They're all going to be close by design. And Aaron says the best way is to cut and paste the audio into one file, but then there are still differences in strings, action, mic position. That's the one thing we have going for us today, Aaron. The mic position and the strings are the same, but the player, it's still a variable. I can do my best to be careful, but I may have played one of these guitars a little bit more energetically than the other 2. So I'm going to do it again. We're not in a super fast mode here. Let me play them again. This time, if you agree, I'll play 1 versus 2. We'll try to get a feel for how one compares to another, and then we'll bring the third one in And let's go back. This is number one again. I'll play some different chords, and we'll see if we can get to the bottom of which one of these guitars is the best. This song's for Aaron.
Here's my S.
Spoon, this chair is way too squeaky for this kind of test. I'm not usually.
Yeah, we don't hear that very much. I mean, I'm listening to headphones. I don't know, but now that you've pointed it out, thanks a lot. Again, I think this has the most pronounced mid-range. I'm not sure how you would refer to it as less bassy. I think the mid-range really stands out. So I'll be curious when you get into more of the fingerstyle stuff and when you do the and playing the slower fingerstyle that allows the notes to ring. I'm curious to see how this one sounds in that mode. But I think you were right. I think this one is. I wouldn't say so much lower bass as more forward mid-range, but
that's a good point. Yeah, and when I do say that there's more of something, maybe inherently I'm hearing less of mid-range. So that's a good point. Rob, this is number one, I think. Nope. I'm not sure when you type that. This is number two at this time. I do have some high-tech pickguard information. You'll see 2 strips of blue tape. I mean, they're not really easy to see, but this is number 2 on my lap right now. Steve Smith says, hello, Maury and Spoon. Thank you both so much for what you give us about these beautiful Martin guitars. He thinks number 2 sounded more rich and balanced.
Balance is exactly the first thing I said about it when you played it the first time. It's the most balanced.
I have to wonder if anybody's listening to what Spoon says and then typing it to appear to be an expert. That's okay, because that's how I made my living on YouTube. That's not a bad thing to do. So let's listen to 2 again versus 1, and I'll play some fingerstyle this time, and I won't forget about number 3. And please let me know in the chat while we're doing this if you have a suggestion or request on how to do this. And don't forget, at halftime, I will go upstairs, and the second segment of this show doesn't have to be D16E mahogany. If there's something in my inventory you do want to see after the halftime, if we have it in stock, I will bring it down. That includes Aaron and Spoon. If you guys want to hear something, maybe you'd like to hear a D16E Rosewood. I have no idea what you guys want to see, but it is viewer request time in the second segment. So let's get some fingerstyle happening on this D16 number 2. Number 2 again. Back to 1. Thought, Spoon?
1 is warmer and has much softer edges around that A string bass, and 2 much greater note-to-note definition and separation. Really stands out. I can see why somebody would like that. I think the articulation is is much more pristine, where this is warmer and fuller sounding. So that, to me, very much a matter of personal opinion. It's interesting you don't involve the lowest bass string in this test. So I keep wanting you to resolve on the G and kind of go down to an E minor just to get the full bass range going. But
Well, you're not in charge here, but if you insist, I can take your advice. And if you want to do your own show sometime, I can guest on that, and then you can do the strings you want to
I
do.
would say do those same first two chords and then go to the, then go to a G and an E minor and see. But
Coming at you. Good idea. I'm curious, you guys in the chat, what do you think? While Spoon's giving us his opinion, let us know in the chat what you're hearing, and I'll be reading that as well.
Rohit just said one sounds mellower, two sounds like it has newer strings. That's kind of what I meant. It's got this clear, bright definition to it. The other ones definitely sounds quite warmer. I'm impressed by that. And you adding on the lowest bass string just back that up. So now I'm really curious to see what 3 sounds like compared to these other two. But I mean, I would try to do two. Well, it's not my show, but I would, try to do a D45. And no, I'm curious to see how 3 now sounds compared to these two. But
cool. Let me play a little bit more on 2, and then I'll go to 3. Well, what do you think about that?
It's interesting. We have a vote for number 2. It looks like we have 2 votes for number 2 as being richer and fuller sounding. That's interesting because I find 2 to me sounds more balanced, and 1 sounds a little fuller to my ear. So maybe it's a matter of what we're listening through as well. That's I like somebody's suggestion that you also make available audio file. I don't know if there's a way you can make that available when you're going to cut this up. If you can maybe make it available as a high-end MP3 or something like that, so people can listen to it on their home devices.
I probably could, and I'm not sure if I can take this exact episode and do that, but if I can, I will, and if I can't, I can try to do just that. I can do another sit down without making you guys watch the whole thing, and maybe I could do a wave versus wave versus wave. But yeah, that's a good idea. I'm not sure who said that, but thank you very much. More work for me to do.
Yeah, I mean, I do it all. I used to do it all the time when I was doing my own, when I was doing reviews more frequently. When I would do when I would do the mixes for my Martin reviews from the Martin factory, I would do exactly that because I was trying to replicate what I was hearing in my head in that room. And so I would do the usual EQ where you really take the very far ends down a bit, stuff that's supposed to be beyond, outside of human conscious hearing. But I would just walk around and I would splice it up and go back and forth between 2 EQ settings and see which one, sounded differently. And when you're only listening, when you're not watching, you're only listening, you pick up a lot more subtle stuff. So yeah, I think that'd be very cool for you to do a ABC. So good idea.
Cool. Thank you for whoever suggested that, and thank you, Spoon, for bringing it to my attention. Don't forget, guys, at halftime I will take a break, and if there's something you want to see that has nothing to do with this three guitar comparison, we can take that opportunity for the second segment of the show to bring you down some regular inventory. We did bring some new arrivals back from Martin. Some of them went out as fast as they came in to fulfill some back orders. Some old guitars that have been here for a while. If you haven't seen them on the program in a while and you want to see them, we'll take a listen. I want to thank Spoon Phillips for listening in and giving us his opinion. I'm not sure how long he can stay, and I'll just ask him on the air. If you have to leave, you let us know. If you can stay, I'd love to see what you think about the guitars in the second part of the program. I'm going to play some more fingerstyle on number, I think I have 3. And let's remember that this is basically an introduction to listening to 3 guitars. Maybe it's the next best thing from being able to come into Mari's Music and sit down with these. But if you are interested in any of these guitars, and I can help you after the fact, please let us know. Email me at mari@marismusic.com if this sparks an interest and this video doesn't quite finish your comparisons. I'm happy to speak with you at length and let you know what I'm thinking listening to these under ear. And Spoon made a great point. It's a lot easier to listen and see what's going on when you're not playing them. So when I listen back to this to cut it up in pieces, I'll actually have a better perspective in some ways, not having to play and watch the stream and do the tech part of this. As Aaron could attest, when we're doing this, a lot of our mind is on the camera and the focus and the details of making sure that you guys can still watch this and not really play these guitars. I'm sort of in the worst seat in the moment, but I'll give a good listen later. I'm going to play some more fingerstyle on 3. Maybe this time I'll go 3, 2, 1. And please let us know in the chat what you're thinking of this idea, and if you can figure out a way to give us some more suggestions while they're here, I'll do my best to give you a better idea what 3 D16E mahoganies really do sound like. Spoon, now I want to just like go and make that full wave version of the wave versus wave versus wave, and I'm not surprised Aaron picked that up. I'm peeking at the chat, and Aaron, you do have a good idea once in a while. Fortunately for you, a lot of people are watching when you have them, so thank you for that. Spoon, with that little snippet, did you change your mind about any of 3 of these guitars?
Well, it actually sounds like the same guitar with different EQ settings. You know, it's really subtle. I'd like you to A-B 1 and 3 a little bit like you did 1 and 2, because 1 and 3 sound more alike. 2 is the one that stands out to me as having that clearer treble and clearer overtone and more subdued undertone, where this number 1 is, again, very warm. It almost sounded too warm after 2, but as soon as you got into it, then all of a sudden I really liked it. I liked the richness. 1, I still think, is the warmest, softest edged of the 3. But I think 1 and 3 are closer. So I would love it if you could just kind of go back and forth between those 2 a couple of times, if that's
sure.
Okay.
I should take this opportunity before I forget. I haven't sniffed any of these, and if I'm a sound hole sniffer like I say I am, I'm going to do that right now. I'll let Aaron tell you more about it in the chat, but Aaron Short does have a very cool t-shirt line called Sound Hole Sniffer, and you can get your shirt at teespring.com. Aaron, be a good chap and put that in the chat so we know where to go. Oh my God, the cedar kerfing with that other stuff Spoon said yesterday from the show is really hitting the spot. Um, you, there's only one Spoon, and we can all try to remember how he says things, but I'd just rather watch yesterday's video, which is archived on youtube.com/Aaron Short Music. You know I'm telling the truth. Here we go with, we're going to do 1 and 3 this time. This is number 1. Three. It's not that I don't have my own opinions, but Spoon's nice enough to visit us today, so I'm going to keep asking him. I can tell you all about my thinking after the whole show is almost over. Spoon, I've got to ask, with a heavy-handed pick, what do you think between 1 and 3? And I'm scratching my eye. This isn't what I was doing to you earlier. It doesn't matter which finger I'm using. That's purely coincidental.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I would say 3, warmer, rounder. I could see somebody hearing these blind and think that was a rosewood guitar, because the bass is so deep and so round.
Nice.
And but plenty of D18s that have that same round darkness. So that's fascinating. It is fascinating to me that the three guitars sound similar but with different EQ, and I think a lot of it comes down, we said this yesterday, to the soundboard. The different top provides the uniqueness of the personality. And I bet you, like I said yesterday, somebody could come to your shop, play these three guitars, and with their significant other or their musical partner to sit outside and play it for them, that you bring in a dozen pairs of people to do that, and I would imagine which one do I take home would be split across all 3 of them. I really like the middle one, the one that's not as full in the bottom end for the fingerstyle stuff. And I bet you for bluegrassy flat picking stuff, playing with mandolins and all that, to have the articulation, that Del McCoury bass runny stuff, having that really clear so it comes through would be very attractive to people or bluegrassers.
Good point. And to piggyback off of that point, if you guys in the chat might agree with me, when you talk about different customers coming in here and playing all 3, and one guy might like A, one might, number 1, somebody might like number 3. I've often done this test with D28s, HD28s, and gone home and come back the next day, and my favorite, the day number 1, was not my favorite on day number 2. So ear fatigue, mood, a lot of things come into play. I'm not sure it's even fair to say you've got to pick different people to find which one is best will change. What I think is best one day might not be what I think is best the next day. And I've often made that comparison on purpose, because the conversation does come up when somebody calls us up or emails us about purchasing a guitar. I'm very truthful when I tell them that these guitars are so consistent. My favorite on Tuesday might not be my favorite on Wednesday. Maybe it'll be my favorite again next week. These are definitely built with the intention of Martin putting these out there in the marketplace, knowing full well if you can find this in Pennsylvania or find it at a dealer in Chicago or find it anywhere, they don't want you to think that you've got to find the one. They're going to do everything they can to make sure these 3 guitars are all good examples of the D16E mahogany. And I hope today's broadcast, even though it's not scientific and we agree it's through YouTube compression, what I'm glad this has not shown so far, at least from what I could tell in the chat, these aren't 3 wildly different instruments. So I don't think anybody, and maybe I'll pose the question, is there a situation for any of you, have you listened to this program so far and found that you like one of these but don't like the other 2? Please let us know that in the chat. And I think that's a really fair question. And speaking about the soundboard on the top, I really should take this opportunity to show you these guitars. Normally when I go through them one by one. I'll do this. This is the top. You can take the tape off the pickguard if you'd prefer, but this is the D16E mahogany, serial number 975. This is the beautiful Sitka spruce top. We have a really nice wood grain on the back. So this is the third example. This is This is example number 2, episode 34, Sitka spruce. Gorgeous mahogany back and sides. I'm trying to get you a little bit of a picture there without reflections. Ask Spoon how much we try to get you pictures in here without reflections. We might shoot 22 videos over a weekend, and half the time is just spent tilting something a different way, because all we see are these lights. And the original, often imitated, never duplicated. This one is serial number 728. All three of these guitars are for sale on our website. Sitka spruce. You guessed it, mahogany back and sides. And as much as I'm doing my best here, I do invite you to check out the images tab on this product page to see 8 high-resolution detailed images of these guitars. And if that's still not enough for you guys to make up your mind, I don't know what else to do, because this has been a pretty exhaustive exercise. I do want to thank Spoon Phillips for sticking around so far. I'm going to take this chance to take a 5-minute break. I'll come back on the other side of it with anything you guys have put in the chat. If there's an instrument you do want to see, please don't be shy. If it's in stock, I'll bring it down. Back in just a couple of minutes. And on the second side of the program, if I come back down here and Spoon is still here, good for everybody. And don't go anywhere. Lots of interesting new ideas in segment number 2. right, guys, we're back. Segment 2 of episode 34, a virtual tour of our Martin guitar inventory, and back with our special guest for the afternoon, Spoon Phillips. And what I'll do is I have an opportunity to tune up some of these guitars that we found upstairs by your requests. Spoon, if you have the opportunity, I just peeked at the chat. If somebody's asking you a question, would you be kind enough to make up a quick answer?
Sure. I can't always see the questions, so I'm not sure. Oh, I see one from Steve. Yeah, he had asked about his upcoming custom. I don't, I think the wild grain versus straight grain. There's opinions all over the place about that. I have played some really great sounding Martins that had wild grain, so I can't say one way or the other about how that's going to affect the tone. I think compared to the importance of a good Martin top. I think it's one of the things that we keep forgetting to talk about when we look at these different guitars, is all of these guitars are high-end professional level guitars that soundboards have been seasoned at Martin in their acclimation room. That you're even at the lower end Martins, you're starting out at a very high-end guitar compared to most guitars built in the world. So I have every confidence you're going to like your custom a lot, and I think, like I said, having that big beefy V-neck and GE bracing will have a lot more to do with what the sound, will influence the tone a lot more than what the grain looks like on the back. But I look forward to seeing photos. So I hope you get photos of it online once you get it. See what wild grain sounds like to you. There was something else that popped up real quick since Maury's letting me do this. I don't understand. Somebody had said something about the custom shop, and I didn't understand what they were asking. Do you see it anywhere? Do you see, where is it?
Sorry, Spoon, I should have let you answer these during the break instead of making people listen
No,
to
it's
that
Steve
shit.
again. When you order custom HD28, how does Martin go about the intake? I guess I don't know if he means intonation and separation on their guitars. I'm not sure what he's asking about that. So I'm not sure what he's referring to, since they make the guitars in the custom shop like they make them on the floor. It's just fewer people doing the work. It's interesting to see. I like seeing people's preferences about these three guitars. One sounds mellower. And I'm really curious to see the replay of this too. I think because I'm not hearing this on YouTube in 1080p high def, I'm hearing it through your Ecamm program. That may have a lot. I think I may be hearing it much more compressed to try to cut back on lag than everybody else is hearing it. So I'm looking forward to hearing them. I may once it's online as a replay, I will probably comment in the comments after. But now I can't hear you anymore. Did you? Oh, you're tuning.
Yep, and that's we'll do it like ESPN. We'll have a reaction show next week of after Spoon got to listen to these guitars like you have. I liked them. One more string to tune here, Spoon. And kidding aside, can you please let everybody know where they can find your album Lost in Haunted Ways, because it's all over my channel. It's a really great collection of acoustic instrumental music, and if you don't tell them right now, I'm going to tell them later, and everyone's going to ask me later anyway. So
yeah, well, that's nice of you. It's tspguitar.com. tspguitar.com. You can also order it through onemans.com, my blogging site, but my musician site is tspguitar.com.
I'm going to write that down so nobody forgets. And I want to say thank you to everybody watching. You guys already know, but I'll tell you again, Spoon's music is a big part of our program, whether it's these live streams, tspguitar.com, whether it's these live streams or our social media, our comparison videos, or all the
Yeah, videos I do for Maury's Music that I originated when I was started to do my reviews at the Martin Factory. All of those pieces are excerpts that, in some cases, I change a little bit, but all of that stuff is on the album. It's all taken from compositions that ended up on the album.
So if you don't want to buy the album, just watch all the videos on my channel and send me them, and I will edit them together, and it's basically the same thing. All right. Marco has been nice enough to wait months and months and months for us to finally get a 0013E in stock. And now it's here. It's almost in tune. This instrument serial number ends in 859. I'll give you a good look at the top and the back, and we'll finally play it. And I will unabashedly vote that we do this on Aaron Short's program sooner than later, because this instrument is really cool. Sitka top. And it's just what I often say, I could keep talking about it, or I could play it and you'll hear it, but let's see what you guys think about it. And because Spoon is nice enough to donate his time today, we'll also ask his opinion. 0013E. I know what you're going to say, Spoon. I'm going to do it. Play the Colorado Capo. Shout out to our pals, Colorado Capo, Matt and company. I know you know all about Colorado Capo. Spoon, you play one.
It's true. It is true. I was playing one just the other day. It looks pretty much like that, though I have the silver body. But
what do you think of the 0013E?
Great. That's a really nice shimmery top, too. 0013s, they're actually made with cirrus back and sides. You can't really tell that from the stain. The stain, you can't tell whether it's what it is exactly, and it looks not unlike Granadillo with the stain that they use. But cirrus is actually an acacia species, but it's Asian acacia species. I'm pretty sure Martin actually gets theirs from the same forests where they get their Indian rosewood. At least they used to, and but it doesn't have. I think it's got a much richer bottom end than Koa, which is probably its closest relative in terms of other guitar woods. So yeah, I really I enjoy the bass on that instrument quite a bit.
Cool. Now some high rollers took advantage of the opportunity, and during the first segment of the program, I invited you. What do you guys want to see from our inventory? I wasn't sure exactly who asked for what, but the subject came up: D41 versus D42 versus D45 versus HD28. I got 3 out of 4. We have a D41, a D42, and an HD28 amber tone lined up, and we'll do the same thing again. We'll do our very best
Wow.
to try to give you, you know, Todd, like every store has these guitars, right? This is just regular stuff on the shelf. We'll try to play these back to back to back, thinking again that what I could do after this program's over, instead of making you guys wait until the 4 hours is probably going to take, I'll do another video where I cut them all up. You won't be waiting for me to rush out of my squeaky chair and get the other one in my hands. We'll make an opportunity where you can hear this, snap to the next one, and vice versa. And Aaron Short, among all of his great ideas that are on the internet for you to watch and listen to, came up with a good idea. I should share some WAV files if you guys want to just listen. So I know I'm busy the rest of the week. If you guys try to call in and I don't answer the phone, it's because of this, and you'll have to talk to Andrew. But yeah, let's listen to the D42. This guitar has been on the program quite a few times, and this is serial number that ends in 715. That is code for somebody please buy this, because we don't like anything to be on the program that many times. It shouldn't still be here.
Wow, back. Look at that back. Great.
Very beautiful, very costly East Indian rosewood, and a gorgeous, gorgeous Sitka spruce top. Let's give it a spin. Party foul. These aren't tuned together yet. Sorry. I'll go in reverse order for you guys. Here's the HD28. This is in an amber tone finish. HD28 first. Really curious to see what Spoon thinks here.
Well, I'm curious to hear what other people think. I know what I think. They are very similar, you know, and everybody knows that they all have the same bracing now. Same wood, same bracing. These particular guitars, I feel the 42 is more colorful, and the trebles and the harmonics over the mid-range. But when I say colorful, I hear more variation, and so it seems more expressive in the high end. But they both got really nice, muscular, growly bottom end, really.
Thank you. The muscular is probably me, but Rob makes a good point. Has a good question. Do you guys ever come across a sample that blows you out of the water and buy it for yourself, since you have access to so many? I'm a little bit embarrassed to say no. Not that I don't come across something that blows me out of the water, but I'm one of those guys, and everybody's got a different personality. If I were to do that, I would spend more time doing that than connecting you guys with the information and the videos and the things that it takes to be a store and be relevant online, where we have to show you all this social media and the videos and the pictures. I would honestly fall down a rabbit hole of probably doing not enough work, and it sounds kind of funny, but I would need to fall behind on my job so far because I wouldn't know where to stop. If I've seen at least 7 or 8 guitars this year that really fell into that category. Like, wow, I inspect everything we sell. I have to play test it. Many times I bring it on the program, and almost everything we get through here, if it's not fulfilling a back order, you guys see it when I see it. And then when the camera stops rolling and I get to really play them again, there have been times. But I would not know how to really feel like, is that HD28 that I really think is mine now? I'm going to see 4 more of them before the end of the year. What if one of those is better? And I spiral into Aaron made a joke earlier, drive yourself crazy comparing things. I sort of stay away from the whole point, and I try to tell myself, these are all my guitars until they're sold. I can play them whenever I want. I don't have a lot of time to play them, but I can appreciate, today I got to play a D42 and a bunch of D16s, and that's my guitar time. And none of these are mine, but that's kind of where I express myself there. So, Rob, I do come across samples, but I've for that reason I haven't pulled the trigger. And if you ever see a month or a week or two where we're just not active on social media and we don't have any new pictures anywhere, that means I have started doing that, and I'm gone fishing. So it's hard. It's hard to really still do this part for the audience and our viewers, and not fall into that, but it can happen for sure. So another
It is a slippery slope.
Wouldn't you feel the same way, Spoon, when you're at Martin and you're checking out the NAMM guitars? And
Oh, it happens to me all the time. In fact, I did fall down that rabbit hole in the previous century, just after the turn of the century. I've never had the kind of deep pockets that some of my Martin owning friends have who have enormous collections. But I did find myself suddenly playing that D18. That's it, man. I had to take that home, and then the D28, and then the OM21, and then and I ended up with about a dozen guitars, and eventually, eventually I whittled them down and sold them off sometimes for financial reasons, sometimes because I wasn't playing them. But then I also got into doing the custom thing. So, I considered it an expensive education. And I envy people who can have 20 great Martins and play them all. But so I've learned to say, yeah, I would love to own that rather than I'm going to take that home. So, yeah.
Ken asks, maybe we could throw in a standard D18 just for comparison. I'm sorry, Ken, we don't have a D18 at this time. Those guitars sell right away when they come in. What we have to do is find a situation where I come back from Martin on a Monday, do a quick program with Aaron, and maybe somebody would let me wait until Tuesday to ship it. I don't have that here. Let me get back to this and play. I'll play the D42 this time compared to the D41. I'll do some finger style and see what that looks like and sounds like. Tune time. This is the D41. Serial number ends in 633. I will let you guys formulate an opinion about that. And Steve asks, what did the guitar sound like? To me, truthfully, I have one earphone in so I can hear Spoon. I'm really not going to be able to answer you in great detail until I do watch the replay. Um, and that's really just me being honest. I don't want to quick fire off some spiel or let you think that I feel like this is a stronger guitar than the other. I really do have to hear the replay to be in the same good situation you guys are in. I'm sort of just keeping the show going, but I will put a comparison video together later and answer some chat questions. Spoon, can I ask you what you think of these guitars compared to each other?
But I'd like you to play the strum on these two first. Go back to that E minor progression or whatever it was you were doing before.
Okay. D41 first. Good point.
Well, this is fascinating because nowadays these two guitars really are the same guitar. I said yesterday I don't know if Style 41 gets the same level of woods as the 42s and the 45s now, or if it's been dropped down to the level of the 28s. But the only real difference is the abalone pearl inlaid around the edge of the fretboard. And the fretboard markers are different. You get the hexagons, small hexes on the 41. So that extra pearl around the sound hole is literally the only thing that could possibly be different about these two guitars structurally that I would think could possibly affect tone. And yet, this particular 41 seemed to be more articulate, a little more open, and a little more airy. And the 42 seemed to be fuller and richer in the mids and low mids, and again had a richness in the color coming off of the high harmonic. And I wonder if the soundboard that was on the 41 was on the 42 and vice versa, if the two guitar sounds would change. I mean, there's just so many individual things that go into it. The braces are scalloped by somebody with a hand knife, with a chisel, and so even though they make the braces basically exactly the same, different pieces of wood, different pieces of the molecular structure of the glue that goes on the braces before they get vacuums pressed onto the tops, they're all different. But I'm surprised these two guitars sound as different as they do. I think they sound very similar, but I still think there's a not just muscular, but the 42 sounds beefier to me.
Interesting. Don says, do we do this every week at the same time? I'm late again. That's the problem, Don. We don't. I'm never sure what day I can do this. And when I find out what day I can do it, I have to kind of fit it in between regular duties here. Andrew and I are the only two people here in the shop, and it's really just a matter of when can we get this done and continue the regular, shipping guitars part of the day. So it's our fault. We don't have a set schedule, and you're always invited to watch the replay. But yeah, there's no way to catch except for making sure you subscribe to our channel and do the notifications thing. But even then, it's really not something you can control. It's just us. But I do want to thank Steve for all his time.
I think what we need to hear before you go is you have to hear the 28 versus the 41.
See, and that's why Spoon's here. And I just thought of something, and I should have probably checked with Spoon on his inventory. Spoon, do you have some CDs available in hard copy?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes, I do. I'm actually getting close to having to order a second edition, but and I'm deciding whether I want to do some subtle change in the artwork so I know when somebody got a second edition, but I probably won't. But
well, I'll hold you to it. I'll make sure I check your second against your first. But what I'm going to do at the end of the show, it's not something you guys have to enter. I'm going to randomly choose one of the comments here. I'll just do a random generator, and if it says between 1 and 50, whichever comment is number 40, for example, We're going to pick a random winner. I'm going to buy a CD from Spoon and mail it to you. So all of you guys are actually entered in a chance to win Lost in Haunted Ways. But you can all win it by buying it at tspguitar.com. So keep that in mind. Spoon's got a lot going on, and I want to say thank you to him for sticking around as long as he did. One more quick turn around the block with the D42 versus the D41. And we are near the end of episode 34. A virtual tour of a Martin guitar inventory, but please don't forget to go back and watch this from the beginning.
But don't forget to do the 41 versus the 28. That you didn't do. So that's what you didn't do. Yes. But you have the 42 in your hand, so.
Okay, so 42 versus the 28 is what we need?
No, 41 versus the 28. You did the 42 versus the 28.
That's why Todd is producing this episode of Virtual Tour. It's Virtual Todd of our Martin guitar inventory. I gotta stop doing that.
That's what the binding's for.
That's right. That's why you get a guitar with a finish. So we're gonna compare the 28 to the 41, and the 28 goes first.
28 sounds like a 28, and the 41 doesn't. To me, the 28 has a darker, smokier rosewood undertone, and maybe they both do, but what it doesn't have is it doesn't have that high-end articulation, particularly on the harmonics going across the mid-range. I just hear, whether you want to call it a sparkle or a shimmer or a jangle or whatever, it's a sunnier sound. It's like a sunnier sound to me. Really fascinating, because I mean, is it my brain saying, oh, well, that's the way a 28 is supposed to sound, and that's the way 41 is supposed to sound? So I translate that. I can't tell you that because I can't get out of my own brain. But I'm curious to know if anybody else agrees with me.
That's interesting. And it's funny because we could also do this next time with no pictures. I could have a big black cardboard in front of me and make you guys do all that. And there's just so many ways to do this kind of thing. But I do hope you guys have enjoyed our attempt, at least, on the fly to give you a comparison, first of all, between the D16E mahoganies with all three of them here. All three of those are here for sale if you guys would like one. This is a great video to watch again if you want to maybe take a step back from it. Watch this video again tomorrow, and really, if you're in the market for a thin-bodied dreadnought guitar from Martin, those would all fit the bill. And then we graduated and took a climb upstairs into the 40 series, and second segment certainly showed you D41, D42, and HD28, aka they're all the same guitar for the most part with different amenities. And if any of these comparisons and quick examples gave you the idea that you'd like to know more about them, please let us know. If I didn't get an opportunity to answer your question live, please copy and paste it and put it in the comments section of this video when it replays. I will take an effort to go back and watch this video, and if I see you guys have an unanswered question, I'll make every effort to give you what I do think. And if there's something I could have answered here and it just came and went too quickly, I do apologize. I want to say thanks to all you guys watching, especially you guys who have been here since episode. I know there are people here watching that have seen every single episode, all 34 of them. You guys are my people. It means a lot for you guys, for you guys to be hanging around as long as you can. Please consider sharing this with anybody you think would like it. Let them know that someday next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, probably late morning, we're going to be live again. But as Don recognized, if you subscribe and ring the bell, YouTube will tell you when we're live. And as you guys might have noticed in the beginning, there's almost always a 10 or 15 minute intro. So it's just like the trailer at the movies. You're going to get there. Even if you're late, you're probably not. So thank you so much to Aaron Short. Thank you again, Spoon Phillips, for all your time. This is going to do it for episode 34 of our virtual tour of our Martin guitar inventory. Spoon, you've been a gentleman and a scholar. I know it's hard for you to behave that long on camera, but you did really good. And hopefully we'll see you again sooner than later. Say bye,
Great.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate your time. And we'll see you guys next time on episode 35, a virtual tour of our Martin guitar inventory. Have a great day.